Jordan Black, number 65.
Holy cow.
Just absolutely grabbed. Looked like Shante
Holding,
Orr.
65, offense, 10-yard penalty, still first down.
Well, they said 55, but it is 65. Jordan Black. He made sure, though, didn't he?
Oh, look, he not only has him, but he throws him to the ground. A Notre Dame guy knows better than that.
Shante Orr is going to be in the grass, but big Jordan Black, and I guess Black goes by the theory, if you're going to hold, you might as well do it right.
You're right. I'm going to save my quarterback. You're not going to touch my quarterback, and I'm going to stop you, even though I'm in the middle of the field and no one's around me except the referee.
He had really played well for them at right tackle. He had to go to left tackle with the injury to Willie Rowe, who they hope to get back anytime. Green over the middle. Gonzalez sitting down at the 16-yard line. 9 grabs for Tony Gonzalez. That'll give him 54 for the season.
Look who's around him. There are 2 linebackers, Greenwood and Polk, 51 and 56. Watch this. And he gets in between the 2 of them and makes a play in front of the safety.
Yeah, but I don't explain this to me. Trent Green throws the ball to him all the time. You have nobody come over him on the line of scrimmage. I mean, he's got free releases all night tonight. I mean, he comes off the line. There isn't anybody slowing him down one bit.
There's nobody there this time either. Draw to Johnson. Let's go to Susie.
You know, guys, we've been talking about the aging of this Chiefs offense, and I asked Tony Gonzalez about it before the game. You know, what will he consider when his contract comes up? And he said, I am a Chief. I became a man in Kansas City, drafted there, turned 21 in Kansas City. I established my connections there. He said, I have every intention of staying, but I want to win. Consider, he's only been to the playoffs 2 times in 9 years. They've never won. He doesn't know what it feels like to win a playoff game. He said, all the records are great, but I want to win.
Got a great attitude, Susie. Terrific player. Johnson dives forward. He looks like he's a little bit shy of a first down. And here, back to the point I was trying to make when the Texans went for the field goal.
When you were so rudely interrupted by the Texans' field goal attempt.
That's correct. It puts them within 14, but what do you think Kansas City's going to do in the 4th quarter? Sit there and wait for them to get 2 touchdown drives? I don't think it's going to happen.
No, but you had to count. But let's face it, Mike, their defense did stop them, almost forced a turnover on the kickoff return. You have to count on your defense going out and stopping them. It's a time when you have to rise to the occasion.
Timeout. It's short. It's short about 6 or 7 inches. 7 max.
This is like your first official guess.
Well, I don't get a chance to get him in because you're talking.
Oh, excuse me.
Well, you asked me to answer a question for you. Why about Tony Gonzalez?
It's a foot.
Well, what does Dick Vermeil do? It looks like he's thinking about more than just a field goal.
If I have Larry Johnson, I'm going.
He went for it on 4th down with Larry Johnson against the Oakland Raiders.
Wasn't that a great call?
Great call. I think if he had more time to think about it, he probably wouldn't have tried it. And now he's going to do it again.
Chris Bober comes in as an additional blocker. He's number 67. Remember, Johnson, 230 pounds, and they've got Will Shields, Brian Waters, and Casey Wegman in the middle of that line. That is the strength of Kansas City's offense. 4th and inches. Johnson. First down.
You know, it's
just
amazing.
Right behind those 3 guys, and they wedge them out.
But you look at Houston and their defense, they had 8 guys from tackle to tackle in the middle because they knew, first of all, Johnson was going to get the ball, and they knew exactly where they were going to run it.
Let's go back to the game that Joe mentioned against Oakland. Vermeil gambles, goes for the win instead of the kick that would have tied it. Larry Johnson into the end zone as time expired. It's a 27-23 win over the Raiders. Now a new set of downs, and Trent Green throwing for the end zone and throws behind his receiver, Eddie Kennison. Kennison was covered well by Dante Robinson.
You know, when Joe said it in the second half, they're going to get a strong dose of Larry Johnson. And I know we're talking about this guy, but there were 9 plays until that pass play there. 8 of them were 8 rushes by Johnson. And why not?
You've taken almost 6 minutes off the clock.
And the guy that's been effective for Houston has been Dominic Davis, their running back, number 37.
Larry Johnson now with 30 carries, 172 yards. Here's number 31, and he's inside the 10 to about the 8. And this is just burning so much time off the clock and would make it a 3-score game if they get anything out of it.
And it's a bit unusual when you look at the Kansas City Chiefs this year in the red zone. They haven't been as effective as they've been in the past. They were in there 31 times coming into tonight's game, 15 touchdowns, 12 field goals, and got nothing out of it 4 times. The reason why is they've always been a very good running team in the red zone, and I believe that's how you wind up scoring a lot of touchdowns. Without Priest Holmes, they weren't as effective. I think they found an answer, though.
This has been a 7-minute drive. This is the 12th play coming. Green wide open. Kennison to the goal line. Touchdown.
Wow.
What a nice job. They run everybody out in the flat. Eddie Kennison just sort of hangs in the little dead area and then reaches out, and yep, I'd have to say as long as the ball catches a piece of the goal line, it's a touchdown. Wouldn't be surprised if Dom Capers thinks about challenging this, but I don't think he could win it if he does. Where are you going?
Caught down here by Mike.
Oh, he's looking.
Yeah, he is, but that ball hits any part of that goal line, it's a touchdown.
I know that. I said that. There he is. Now, does his knee hit the ground before? No, he's airborne. I think it'd be a little too close to call. Not conclusive enough.
Even if you make the challenge, you're going to need Kansas City the ball a foot away.
And they're going to score.
Yeah, and they're going to score anyway. I understand your point. The extra point is good. 12-play drive, 51 yards, 7 minutes and 4 seconds off the clock.
ESPN Sport Legends presents Zina Garrison. More than a quarter of a century after Althea Gibson crossed the colour line in women's professional tennis, Zina Garrison followed in her footsteps. Garrison won 14 singles titles in 15 years, but more importantly, made contributions that helped players like the Williams sisters, who made their own mark on the game.
She didn't have a lot coming up, and she had to overcome often being shunned, being the victim of racism.
It didn't matter that I was one of the top juniors in the world. I still wasn't able to play at certain places.
Zina was thought of as being the, since Althea Gibson, the first African-American, female player that was really going to do something.
Zina Garrison did make it easier for Venus and Serena Williams. She showed people that, hey, I can come from Houston, Texas, I can be black, and I can challenge for major titles.
Don't forget, we're on not once, but twice a week these days with ESPN SoccerNet Press Pass. Coming up on the Monday edition of the programme, we'll reflect on the big Super Classico in Spain and look ahead to Champions League Match Day 5. Make a date with us.
The NBA on ESPN Saturday. Jason Kidd leads the Nets into enemy territory against Steve Nash and the Suns. Nets, Suns, live Saturday. The NBA on ESPN.
ESPN Sunday Night Football, brought to you by Miller Lite. On your next beer run, grab some great tasting, less filling Miller Lite. Miller, good call. State Farm, great service, great rates. That's why 40 million drivers trust State Farm. UPS, what can Brown do for you? And Forterra, soft on the inside, tough on the outside.
Yesterday, over 30 teams from all over the state of Texas competed in Houston's annual Chili Cook-Off Championship, and I'll guarantee you they didn't have any of my favorite, which is real mild chili.
What a perfect name for that, fire in the hole.
Yes, sir.
I can tell you there are a lot of people.
Light them up.
A lot of guys living alone last night, man.
Sleeping alone.
Whoa, baby.
Where are you sleeping tonight, honey? out in the field.
Oh, jeez.
Isn't that beautiful?
Help me.
Blazing Saddles.
Mathis from the 2. All the way back to the 15, trying to get to the corner, nothing doing.
I don't think I've ever seen that. I don't think I've ever seen a returner run up, try and get everybody to tackle him, and then try and loop around. That is a very unique move. A lot of times it'll get you killed.
Relive another great moment on ESPN. It's the biggest day of racing in America, the fabled Indianapolis 500. Difficult to capture for the most savvy veteran drivers, more difficult for a young 26-year-old gunning for his first checkered flag at the Brickyard at Indianapolis. But Helio Castroneves defied the odds and won the big race, climbed the catch fence, and the legend of Spider-Man was born. A celebration of sports memories from around the globe. Great moments on ESPN.
I'm Tom with a crushed face. Monday night, Brett Favre and the Packers against the Vikings at Lambeau Field on Monday Night Football, 9 Eastern on ABC Sports.
What a great job Jim Bates has done with that Green Bay defense. Took over a defense that really struggled and have them playing really hard now.
David Carr draw to Davis. And Davis out to the 34-yard line.
Got some quarterbacks that are a little long in the tooth in that ball game on Monday night. Brad Johnson, Brett Favre. There's a lot of them. There are about 9 of them over 33 that are starting in this league.
Can still play, though, can't they?
Well, they can, but how much longer? I mean, we have to think about when's the next generation going to start to take over. David Carr being one of those young guys. Frank Green being on the other side of it. They tried to throw that one up to us.
Well, David Carr needs to be surrounded by some more talent for him to be successful.
Look at the age. These are starters. Brad Johnson, obviously. Dante Culpepper's there. Favre, Trent Green, who fills there? Mark Brunell. They got Jason Campbell, Kurt Warner. They just keep playing them, even though Josh McCown wins ball games. Gus Frerotte, Drew Bledsoe, Trent Dilfer, Kerry Collins. When you look at these teams, you wonder what happens if they're not going to play and how much longer can they be effective. So.
Which young guys you want to put in their place? Do you have anybody?
No, I'm saying there are some of the teams have got some young players that are going to have to take over.
Blitz coming on Carr. They do a pretty good job of picking it up. Carr down the sideline. What great closing speed by Dexter McCleon, who just came flying across to get a hand on it.
Yeah, but you know who really made this play? I think it was Sammy Knight, number 29, got in, jumped in the air, made Carr hold it. Now they're going to go. Are they going to go again? Yeah, they are on 4th down. But Sammy Knight got in, number 29 on the outside, and made Carr wait to throw this ball. And when he did, Cleon had a chance to get it.
4th and a yard. Jonathan Wells, number 32, is in there, going to give Wells the ball, and Wells is stuffed before he had a chance. Greg Wesley, the free safety, came firing through, got Wells by the ankles and took him down. That should do it from Houston.
The NBA on ESPN Saturday. Jason Kidd leads the Nets into enemy territory against Steve Nash and the Suns. Nets, Suns, live Saturday. The NBA on ESPN.
He had a beautiful second shot in here. Very unlucky to check up.
That'll help. That will help. Good. 2 Eagles in just a couple of minutes.
Walking downfield along with Johnson from the 20-yard line. Bledsoe throwing off his back foot, and he hits Glenn for the touchdown. So the silent Glenn all of a sudden gets noisy. It's a 20-yard touchdown. McNabb's going to throw it. It's going to be intercepted by Roy Williams. And Williams is inside the 20, inside the 10, and a touchdown.
Staley end around Randall L. And Randall L. wants to throw the ball. Hines Ward wide open. Touchdown. An end around split end pass to Hines Ward. Dick Vermeil should feel a little more comfortable right now with a 38-17 score, and his team has just taken over on downs at the Texans' 33-yard line. Larry Johnson is going to be first in line for the hot tub to the 17.
Did you see that hole open up?
Oh, and the guys that are going to be second are the guys been tackling them all night.
32 carries, 192 yards.
I said he was going to get 200 yards, didn't I? Didn't I?
Yes, you did.
And he's just about to get it.
Glenn Earl made that tackle. Johnson's a guy who has to carry the load the rest of the year. Priest Holmes, their Pro Bowler, their all-time leading rusher, on injured reserve. He reevaluated after 30 days, and then he and his family are going to have a decision to make about whether he is going to resume his career. Holmes is out for the season, took this hit 3 weeks ago against San Diego. A 3-time Pro Bowler. He was placed on IR after being evaluated with head and neck trauma. He's gone to 3 different doctors. He has said he hopes to return to football next year, but he certainly doesn't want to jeopardize everything in order to do it.
I love what Vermeil said about him. He said he deserves to come back to his football team. He's meant so much to it.
Green got this one out to D. Brown, who makes his first catch of the season. Priest Holmes is a guy who was the heart and soul of this offense. 66 total touchdowns, 2002, 3, and 4. 27 alone in the 2003 season, which set an NFL record, and he broke all the other records in Kansas City for rushing yards and touchdowns.
And really, Al,
and a terrific guy.
And Al Saunders, the offensive coordinator, is really having to adjust quite a bit of what he wants to do offensively around now Larry Johnson, a different type of a back.
Brown on the sweep to the 5, got inside the 5, did not quite get in the end zone, out of bounds to 1. Brown out of Syracuse, the 3rd-year running back.
But it doesn't matter who's in that backfield. There's a holding penalty right there, but it didn't matter. They're going to call it now.
You call holding all the time.
Well, when they take a guy down, it's holding.
Well, he tackled him.
Jason Bell was just grabbed and thrown to the ground. Johnson is back in the game, only 6 yards away from tying the Kansas City all-time rushing record set by Barry Ward. That was in 1990 as he rushed for 200 yards.
Nice job there by the Texans, standing him up in the hole.
That's the first time that he didn't lose a yard, but that's the first time they've stopped him tonight at the line of scrimmage.
Marlon Greenwood, number 56, stepped right in the hole to stand him up.
And Robert Smith comes up gimpy.
We got a flag on the play.
And we've got a timeout because of the injury.
They had a flag. They picked it up.
Clock is stopped with 4:49 to go in the game, and what had already been a small crowd is getting very
No
thin.
foul on the play. 67 reported as ineligible.
That was Chris Bober, and when you come in and you're one of the perimeter players as an offensive lineman with a non-80 number, you have to report to the official.
Yeah, but I don't know. What I couldn't understand is why the flag was dropped at that point. There wasn't a play about to be run.
Because he didn't know.
Yeah, that's right. And when you enter the huddle, I guess you have to let the officials know.
Let's take a look back at a great moment in Sunday Night Football history. Comes the blitz. Jeff George never had a chance. First and 5. Jeff George sacked again by Thomas. He comes from any angle. Derek Thomas with another sack. 6 sacks and a safety. Special player, Derek Thomas.
And they lost another special player back in April, Gerald Wilson, who was a punter for the Kansas City Chiefs. And I'm going to tell you what, this guy, I played against him, and I thought he was one of the, other than Ray Guy, the best punter in the league.
Contemporary of yours, and I know I know how much you admired him. Derek Thomas was the face of this defense in Kansas City for so long. 4th overall draft pick. 126.5 sacks. He went to the Pro Bowl 9 times. And Paul, you did another game, I believe, when you were with NBC, that Derek Thomas just had an unbelievable.
He had 7 sacks, I think, in the game, and he actually
in Seattle.
Yeah, in the last play of the game, he had a sack, but he had one other one that they got out of the grasp.
Jim Zorn.
He should have had 9 in one game.
It was one that Jim Zorn, the last one, he escaped and threw a pass for a touchdown that beat him.
Johnson is back in there. The ball's at the 1. Texans jump offside. It appeared.
Half the distance.
But no, but maybe if Kansas City was offside, Larry Johnson gets a shot, get closer to the record. This is going to be one of those he moved.
He said.
Neutral zone infraction, 96 defense, half the distance to the goal, still 3rd down.
That's Gary Walker. It will go 1.5 yards closer to the goal line.
Andre Johnson, the young, terrific wide receiver, had a couple of things happen in this game that he would prefer to forget.
And they'll whistle this one dead. And this will back him up 5. And now we've got a fight. People have been pretty chippy all night long.
Well, Paul, only one has their helmet off, and that's Jason Dunn, it looks like.
And a lot of times in these cases, you get them ripped off.
The 11 years that I played, I always remembered one thing. If a fight broke out, put your helmet on and stand behind the head coach.
Ball start, 54, offense, 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
It's Brian Waters, the Pro Bowl left guard. Standing behind the head coach is a good trick.
Oh, you can stand behind the head coach with your helmet on. Always keep your helmet on. And you can say anything you want to the guys in front of you because they're never going to swing at you because it hit your head coach.
That's right. I just walked the other way.
Larry Johnson needs 6 yards. He can't get it here. It's only back to the 5. But they got a shot, even if he doesn't get it here, getting the ball back on another series.
Well, if there's a 5-yard penalty, he has to be able to get it here because it had to go out. It wouldn't have been in the end zone.
But he needs 6 yards, Paul.
Joe, listen to what I just said.
I'm trying.
And they take him out of the ballgame and put D. Brown back in.
And they
get the touchdown. And that's Sammy Parker, the young man out of Oregon that they think is going to be their big speed receiver to complement the greatness of Tony Gonzalez inside.
What a terrific throw by Trent Green. You want to hang this up outside and give him a chance to make a play. Only your receiver has a chance to make a play on the ball.
Jason Bell never did know where the ball was.
Outside. Nice catch. Way to stay with it. Good throw, too.
What's a tough pattern to cover for a corner. (45-17). Well, we've had some numbers today, haven't we? Offenses have really rung them up. 4:35 to go from Houston.
ESPN Sport Legends presents Bobby Jones. In 1930, at the peak of his popularity, amateur golfer Bobby Jones completed a feat that would make him stand alone in history, winning the Grand Slam.
Nobody before in the history of golf was ever in a position to where they could even think about what it would be to hold all the national titles at the same time.
After completing the first half of the Slam by winning the British Amateur and the British Open, Jones returned to America for the U.S. Open.
After Bob won the U.S. Open in 1930 at Interlaken, all of the reporters started to hover around him, and they were hounding him saying, "Okay, Bob, what are you going to do now?"
Then in late September of 1930 at the U.S. Amateur, Jones completed the Slam.
To come out as an amateur, working at another living, playing against the best that professional golf could offer, and to whip each one of them on every single occasion, that's pretty special.
Back in Houston, Texas at Reliant Stadium, where it's 45-17 the Chiefs. They have broken this one open and salted it away. Trent Green, 19 out of 29, 220 yards and a season high 3 touchdown passes.
And that interception was not his fault, because that ball, Eddie Kennison was right in his hands and he dropped it.
Couple of weeks, he gets to sleep less, gets a new little baby girl. His wife Julie's going to have a baby in a couple of weeks. Congratulations, Trent.
Mathis from the 4. Had a 99-yard return earlier in this ball game that really got this crowd pumped up, and temporarily at least.
I want to show you on pass track what a nice job Trent Green does with this throw. Quick step, gets it in the air. You don't want to throw it up too high to allow the defender to make a play on it, and he throws it in the perfect spot out over the left shoulder of the receiver. 16-yard arc. Trajectory is so key, throwing the ball to different areas on the field.
Even when you watch a replay in slow motion, the trajectory doesn't look like that. So it's amazing to me when we do that. It does.
Yeah. Yeah. Some guys really accentuate it, put a good rainbow on it. Other guys just try and get it up and down.
Now here's where you got to be careful with David Carr.
Oops.
Just like that. I mean, this game is out of hand, and the last thing you would like to do is give Carlos Hall a shot at coming from behind and hurting your quarterback.
That's a sack, the first time tonight.
Right, and I'm saying to David Carr, take a look at what you've got. If you don't have it, throw the ball. Just throw the ball away. Protect yourself. Don't take unnecessary hits, standing around and getting beat up. Nobody will say you're giving anything up.
Throws this to the sideline to Bradford, and Warfield, who's had a huge game for Kansas City, takes him out of bounds.
Guys, do you remember a pass from the Texans tonight anywhere in the middle of the football field?
How about anything over 12 yards?
But anything in the middle of the football
I think
field?
there was one, but I'm not sure.
Everything. I know he's tried a couple of over 15 yards, but everything has been outside. Well, I saw it. You had a sense something was going to happen bad at the end of the half, and it did. And he keeps throwing it out to that left side, and Warfield's sitting there saying, you know what? Hey, guys, I'm going to take a chance and jump one of these things. I promise you.
3:37, clock turning.
Oh.
That's Dominic Davis. He's drilled immediately by Kavika Mitchell.
David Carr trying to throw the ball. 3 passes over 15 yards, 18 attempts to the left. Now, when you look at that pass chart, you have to say to yourself, the Kansas City Chiefs have nobody at the right corner. And they have Warfield, and he's recovered a fumble, and he's intercepted a pass and run it back for a touchdown. And you're not even throwing it to Andre Johnson. There's David Carr going to throw it out to the left again.
I mean, he's going to get it picked off again because, you know, I know about, I don't know, you know, you played the position, but you don't look at the guy you're going to throw to every single time.
I'm going to go to Coach if I'm Warfield, and I'm going to say to Gunther Cunningham, Coach, let me just try and jump one. Let the safety back me up. Let me just jump one.
Well, let me ask you another question. If you're going to throw 5, 6, 7 yard outs, why don't you just run the ball?
Mike, I don't know why you don't try and put it somewhere in the middle of the football field. Well, maybe there's a reason why.
Well, he was looking that time in the middle of the football field, and then everything broke down. And then Jared Allen, number 69, is
almost got his sack.
Almost did. Here's Jared Allen coming inside. Boy, I tell you, this is just hustle. And this guy, you talk about a guy that's got a motor that goes forever. It's him.
He had 9 sacks last year as a rookie, 7 so far this year.
17 his senior year in college.
17 and a half, and what an interesting kid.
And he was really Dick Vermeil's pick. I mean, Dick walked into Gunther and said, what do you think? He said, the guy's got long arms, he's 6'6", and runs under 4.7.
We asked him about making the transition from a place like Idaho State to come and play in Kansas City with huge crowds. And he said, well, at Idaho State, we got 8,000 people. One game we did a big promotion and told them we would donate $1 to charity for everyone they got over 10,000. What'd they get, Paul? 10,000? 48? They gave 48 bucks to charity. He said, at least. This is Jared's story. But he's just an entertaining young man. And there he is with Carl Peterson, the general manager.
Well, the one thing he said to us, too, he said, you know, I'm going to tell you something. When I'm not happy doing what I'm doing, he's going to be the one that's going to walk away. And he said, I love this. He said, how could you not love doing what I'm doing?
He won't walk away for a while.
7 sacks this year, which is just 2 off the NFL lead, at least starting the weekend it was. And now Todd Collins is going to come in for mop-up duty. And Larry Johnson gets another carry. Let's go to Susie.
Another key matchup today in the NFC South. 6-3 Bucks, 6-3 Falcons. Wild finish. Cadillac Williams from 9 yards out. Bucks pull even at 27. Tampa Bay got the ball back after a Mike Vick fumble, and Matt Bryant wins it on the 45-yard field goal. Bucks 30-27, and Chris Sims solid 2 weeks in a row.
NFC South, Carolina getting beat by Chicago. Tampa Bay moves back into a tie with them. Atlanta still hanging around, possibly a division title, possibly a wild card.
Larry Johnson, and he has just set a club record for a single game rushing, breaking Barry Word's 200-yard mark. The 36th carry of the night for 211 yards for Larry Johnson. And what a night.
Larry Johnson may have himself, you know, I mean, the Kansas City Chiefs are looking at a possibility of a Super Bowl there. The league is considered awarding them one to him, and possibly a new home for the Kansas City Chiefs. And if their lease runs out, maybe a new city. Something to think about out there.
211 yards for Larry Johnson, a new club record. 2 minutes, back in a second.
Relive another great moment on ESPN. Could he do it again? Would Adam Vinatieri hit another last-second field goal to nail down another Super Bowl victory for the New England Patriots?
And Vinatieri's kick down the middle. The kick is good.
And the New England Patriots were Super Bowl champions for the second time in 3 years. A celebration of sports memories from around the globe. Great moments on ESPN.
I'm in.
Where he makes his mistake is that he doesn't protect the ball.
It's pure fundamentals. Watch right here. He got sloppy. Here, right here. That's where he loses it. Let's look at that again.
Hey, honey, did you?
Always switch it to the other hand, away from where the pursuit is coming.
What exactly are you doing?
That's a mental breakdown. He got a little reckless there, and I'm sure he's going to catch an earful on the sidelines.
Beat it.
Stay tuned for SportsCenter. Stuart Scott and Steve Levy standing by. We'll have a look at an AFC shootout. Was it ever? The Colts against the Bengals. Open mic with Randy Moss and our Sunday conversation with Tony Stewart.
We get to see Randy Moss in a couple of weeks when the Raiders go in to play the Chargers.
Yes, we do.
Chargers whooped up today.
Familiar post for David Carr as Houston will fall at 1-9. D. Brown is now in as the running back as Johnson goes to the bench with a club record 211 tonight.
Yards per rush in the National Football League. The top 3 are. Look at to your right. Tatum Bell, 6 yards a carry. Sean Alexander, 5.3. And look at this guy. He went from 5-1 going into this game to 5.3 yards a carry. And he carried the ball 30 some odd times, 36 times in this ball. And I'm gonna tell you, you look at him, I'm telling you, he doesn't look tired.
I told you, he did everything in college. I mean, that was nothing new to him.
And now all they have to do is take a knee, and they'll let the clock run out. And the few that are still here, many of them wearing red for Kansas City, will be able to celebrate as their team wins. But the Texans will drop to 1-9, and the future for the people associated with this franchise right now is not very good, because the owner's already indicated things got to get better, or there are going to be a lot of changes.
And they feel like that this is the easier part of their schedule, teams that they match up better against, and they're starting to get their weapons back healthy. So you've got to hope that after tonight, in the next 6 football games, that the Texans do play and play better, and they're playing for their jobs. Tom Capers is a terrific man. Dick Vermeil, a terrific man. At the end of a contest like this, though, somebody's on top, and somebody's got to figure out the problems.
The final score, Kansas City 45, the Texans 17. Stay tuned for SportsCenter. Coming up next, for Joe Theismann, Paul McGuire, Susie Colburn, our entire ESPN crew. This is Mike Patrick. Good night from Reliance Stadium in Houston.